Dauntless was signed up for the 2012 Border Run Short Course. That consisted of a course from the Balboa Pier in Newport Beach to the San Diego SD Whistle Buoy and back to the finish line, which was right off Zuniga Point in San Diego. The course is 70 nautical miles and designed to be an off-the-wind course with a finish right outside San Diego Harbor. Hesitation to tack in front of another boat caused us to get kind of pinned down, running parallel to the start line until they finally went on past and were able to push over to port tack, get across the line, and get on the course. I tried to kind of encourage this fella to go ahead and jump over to port with everybody else so we could get headed towards the direction we wanted to go. But to no avail. He held his course and he had the right of way. He was in the right. We had to let him go by before we could jump on over. And I got a well-deserved earful as they went by about what they thought about me trying to push him over. We finally got ourselves over on the port favorite tack, and it was on. The border run for us was a go, and we're headed to San Diego. The first order of business was to get this boat moving. We needed some clean air, which we now had, so we could get her up to speed and get as high a course as we could and start making ground. Of course, getting her up to speed is a relative term. The big guys were leaving us in their wake, and we never had any illusions that we'd be able to stay with them. But what we wanted to do was make a good showing and show that a pocket cruiser like Dauntless, if she's well prepared, can make this passage no problem. Not able to lay the desired course of 135, we decided to keep tacking back and forth all afternoon. The big guys kind of walked away from us, but then we left some guys back with us that we kind of duked it out with a little bit, and every once in a while we had a little victory. Having never done this race before, the big question for us was, where are we going to find more wind? We needed more wind to push this boat. Did we go inside? Did we go outside and offshore? Did we run the rum line? We finally decided to just take it right down the rum line. The guys outside didn't seem to be leaning over that much more, we could see. The guys inside didn't seem to be doing any better, and we figured we'd just tack back and forth and stay pretty centralized on the rum line all the way down and hope for a wind shift. The bummer about this so far is we weren't finding the winds we were looking for. Dauntless does her best when it's blowing pretty good, and we had gone out the day before and found conditions like this where we were able to drive to windward pretty good and work the boat pretty hard. We had a good time. We were hoping that those winds were going to pick up and help us progress forward, but it just wasn't to be to this point.
Day 57, Seattle and Tokyo. We haven't made very good headway. Winds have been against us. Waiting for the trade winds, but pushing us south, down somewhere along the coast.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're somewhere getting close to Mexico.
Where do they find out the truth is? You're just sitting in front of a blue screen and there's not even water behind you.
Sean putting on his L bracket.
Yeah, and this was just a bad idea.
Go pro, dude.
Paint Boy came out and found us and raised our spirits a little.
Thanks, man. Day 39. We're 4 miles out of Newport now. We expect to hit milepost 5 today, towards the end of the day, possibly tomorrow.
What was killing us is we were keeping up an okay boat speed, but we just weren't aimed where we wanted to go. The velocity made good. A lot of times it was down at 2 knots or less, and we were making 3, 3.5.
Only 90 more
that could be
miles to go.
beneficial.
We started with
that
70.
was a frustrating deal.
Well, gentlemen don't go to win.
Day 58, Seattle to Tokyo. But we're beating that guy, maybe.
Still waiting for those trade winds so we can head west. There's a few sailors you can see have come out to see us sail with us.
Two things just kept becoming more evident. One was that there was less and less boats behind us, and the other was that the sun was getting lower and lower in the sky. The 800-pound gorilla in the room was that we just could not lay the heading we needed, and we're tacking back and forth knowing that we were just adding miles and miles to the course.
Do all the things that lovers do, just me.
So,
Bundled up, man.
Here we go, because there it goes. And if you look around, it's pretty much us. You can still catch a little bit of the coast back there, but we're headed out further to pick up the rum line, and we'll end up about 10 miles offshore, probably out off of Oceanside. So, going a lot slower than we thought it would go. We're only making about 3.5 knots, and because we're beating the windward, we're only making about 2.5 knots, good towards our goal. So we'll just have to see how it plays out here. It'll be a long night.
I'll tell you, if you haven't done this before, and without trying to sound too melodramatic, that watching the sunset on the ocean when you're offshore in a small boat is an interesting thing. It's a beautiful sight. It's something that you're not going to see anywhere else. And it also kind of beckons that there's a long night ahead. We had a lot of work to do to try and drive this boat to windward, and the conditions were really deteriorating as far as the wind getting lighter.
Brr.
There was nearly a full moon. We could see it for a while. In fact, we had some good sailing while the full moon was out and experienced some really cool phosphorescence off the bow wake. Then things kind of slowed down, and they'd be up and down, up and down, up and down, and all the while we could not lay the heading that we needed, and time was slipping away. We were painfully aware that if something didn't change soon, we were really going to be in jeopardy of not making the 2 o'clock cutoff at the finish line in San Diego. And then it got cold. The moon went away, and it looked like this for hours. The struggle was to work every puff that we had to keep the boat driving at least somewhat in the direction we were looking to go. And every time a puff came up, it seemed like it was in a different direction. It would last for a few minutes, and then it would die off. And that went on from about 2 a.m. till probably 7 o'clock in the morning. Morning's arrival brought some company, and it was pretty cool. We had a pod of dolphins come. They didn't really run the bow, but they hung out close enough for a while, and we saw them 2 or 3 times throughout the day. It was pretty uplifting, and it kind of made the morning get started in a good way.
Day 2 of the border run. Morning is finally here after a night that lasted all week. Finally the breeze is filled in, we're moving a little bit, but I don't think there's any way we're going to make it by the deadline. Too light all night. But we're still trying. You know Sean, he'll never quit.
We're the underdogs. Underdog!
Driving for the finish at the border run. The wind is finally picked up to something we can actually work with.
Good.
If we'd had like this the whole day or all night, would have been done hours ago.
A little late now, but better late than never.
Hey, if we were done, we wouldn't be sailing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the frustrating thing at this point in the trip was we were actually almost laying the mark now. We finally had wind and we were moving, and we had just spent the better part of 5 or 6 hours all night long, or maybe more, just absolutely struggling just to keep the boat moving along. If we'd have had this, we'd have made it no problem. But we were happy to at least be moving at this point. Obviously, Larry had a message here he was trying to get across to everybody. And I'm pretty sure those are some ginger snap cookies that he's dodging flying out of the companionway at him. At this point, we got a little bit of false hope. A point of land was coming into sight. It looked like we were pretty much aiming at it. We were on the rum line now by the GPS to clear Point Loma, and what wasn't making sense was the point of land looked like it was closer than the GPS said it should be. And we were wondering, did we have something wrong on the GPS, or why are we going to round this land so much sooner? Maybe we could actually make it. Turned out it was actually La Jolla, and as about the next 20-30 minutes went on, Point Loma kind of materialized out of the haze, and sure enough, it, just like the GPS said, was about 17 miles off still, so that's when we knew we pretty much weren't going to make it. What makes doing something like this worthwhile? And you got a buddy like this that even after, I don't know, 24 hours, 25 hours now we're in, no sleep, pretty much, and we're still having a good time out there, so that's a good thing. Even though we knew we weren't going to make it, we're still having fun.
Don't take the free ride in your own life. If today was your last day and tomorrow was too late, could you say goodbye to yesterday?
Actually, working our way up Point Loma into the SD buoy, we actually got quite an increase in wind. You'll see in the next shot, we've gone from the Genoa and had to step down to 100% blade to get around that corner. Once we did that, it kind of lightened up again. But we had a nice run around Point Loma, gave it a wide berth, stay away from the kelp beds, and we were happy to see that buoy come into sight.
There it is, the one term mark for the entire race. And even though we're late, we're going around it.
Then we came around the buoy, worked our way in a little bit, popped the asymmetrical just for a couple minutes so that we could say we at least did something other than 100% upwind. We were close hauled the whole rest of the way. Then we actually headed down the channel side of the Zuniga jetty rather than over where the finish line would have been, just because they weren't out there anymore and it was getting late. It was already after 4. And headed into Shelter Island. And when we got there, we had these crazy guys waiting to greet us. It was awesome.
Long ways from Havasu. Well done, Sean!
Alan, Sherry, Mo, and Kathy, you guys will never know how much that welcome meant. That was awesome, guys. Thank you.
847.
And what you call on friends you never see, reminisce on memories, would you forgive your enemies? And would you find that one you dreaming of, swear up and down to God above that you finally fall in love?
Yakester, you're the man. Thanks for doing this with me, bud.